we've just gotten a new potential crazy leak about Pokemon Generation 10, and this time is talking about the Pokedex. We now have an exact number of how many new Pokemon we can expect to see in this game, and this number includes new Pokemon as well as regional variant forms, as well as potential new evolutions for previously existing Pokemon. So I'm going to tell you guys what we now know, but before we get into all that, guys, I'm trying to hit 10,000 subscribers, and I'm also going to be covering all the latest Pokemon news and leaks on my channel. So if you guys don't want to miss a thing, then make sure you guys subscribe because it also really helps me reach my goal. And if you guys want to support the channel further, I also have a channel membership, and I'm going to be doing weekly member shoutouts. So if you guys want a chance at a shoutout, consider becoming a member, but there's no pressure with that, of course. But yeah, anyways, guys, so the leak says that Game Freak has a bank of potential Pokemon, and these are just ideas that have been scrapped from previous generations or things that they never used. And they said that they currently have about 200 of these. So there's 200 potential Pokemon that we could get in Generation 10. And they also have to come up with new designs specifically to fit the lore and the theme of the region. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And they would also adjust these concept designs to fit better with the region. So because we know that this region is going to be based on Greece, then I would assume that they would just add more design details to these Pokemon to make them fit better with this theme, if that makes sense. There's a bunch of different factors that they take in for that as well. And of course, you guys know that they would have to create the 3D model, the animations, the movesets, abilities, all that stuff for these Pokemon. It says here that they're aiming for 120 new Pokemon / regional forms. And apparently there's already 70 of these new Pokemon in their final stages of development. So that tells me that Gen 10 must be just around the corner, because clearly Game Freak has been putting a ton of work into all these new Pokemon if we already have that many that are nearly finished or already finished. And I'm really curious to see which Pokemon they're going to give regional variants to. I also think it's worth mentioning that, you know, not all these leaks are going to be 100% accurate, but they do come from credible sources. So I like to assume they're real just for now because it gives us something fun to talk about. But I just want to say to take them all with a grain of salt, because I don't want any of you guys to get disappointed by these leaks if they don't end up becoming true. As well as another big question that a lot of you probably have as well is, will we be seeing a new evolution in this game? And is that going to be a part of the 120 new Pokemon that we're getting? I personally hope that we get a dragon type or possibly a flying type, and I feel like both of those typings would definitely fit this region well. So I'm excited to see what they do with that. And also want to talk about which Pokemon that we might see regional variants for, because we know that obviously they like to go with Pokemon that fit the theme of the region. That's what it said in the leak as well. And I feel like they would give Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus regional variants in this game. And don't ask me why, I just feel like it makes a lot of sense. They just seem like they would fit in with the theme of the region really well. And I also want to talk about what typings we might see for the starters. There's a lot of different type combos, which I think would be really cool to have for the starters. For the water starter, I feel like a water flying type would be pretty cool. Then for the fire starter, I feel like a fire ghost type would be super cool because I'm a huge fan of that type combo. And then for the grass type, I'd love to see like a grass and psychic type. We've never gotten anything like that, so I think that'd be cool to see as well. And then for the box legendaries of this game, so assuming the game's gonna be called Pokemon Winds and Waves, then I think it'd be cool if the legendaries that we got would be based on the theme of Poseidon and Zeus, maybe, because I feel like that makes sense. And I wouldn't want them to be like humanoid, but maybe having the water type for one of them and the electric type for one of them would be cool. Or maybe they could do like a flying type for one of them if they don't want to, you know, clearly give one of them the type advantage. But they've done that a lot of times before with obviously Xerneas and Yveltal. Xerneas obviously has the advantage there. Same with Kyogre and Groudon. Of course, Kyogre would be super effective. I don't think that it's out of the question that they would do that again, but we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. But anyways, guys, I just want to share this information, give you guys some of my thoughts. Like I said, and 120 new Pokemon is a pretty crazy number. I don't think we've gotten that many since Gen 5, where we got 156. So it seems like they're really going to be pushing the boundaries of the Switch too, especially with, you know, having to make 3D models for all of them and everything. So yeah, anyways, guys, let me know if you guys are excited to see what these Pokemon end up being. Let me know your ideas down below for the new starters, the new box legendaries, as well as which Pokemon you'd like to see get a regional variant form that you think would fit well with this theme. So the theme of Greece, obviously. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with. I also want to say that the thumbnail art that you guys saw, as well as the art that I used at the beginning of the video, are made by Cardinal on Twitter. So if you guys want to go check him out, I'm going to leave his link in the description below, but he's super talented and he makes some crazy Pokemon concept art. So be sure you guys go check him out. And like I said at the start of the video, I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. So if you guys want to stay up to date on all the most recent Pokemon leaks and news, then make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to be covering everything, and it also really helps me reach my goal. I'll see you guys in the next one.